Ladies and gentlemen, today we stand at a crossroads where doubt, fear, and double-mindedness often threaten to hinder our progress. These challenges are not just external, they are internal struggles that prevent us from moving forward and realizing our true potential. Doubt creates hesitation, fear paralyzes our actions, and double-mindedness keeps us stuck in a cycle of indecision. The question we must ask ourselves is, how can we overcome these barriers and move confidently toward our goals? First, let's understand the root of these challenges. Doubt arises when we question our own abilities, our choices, or the path we are on. Fear, on the other hand, magnifies the unknown and often holds us back from taking the necessary risks to grow. Double-mindedness occurs when we are torn between competing desires, unable to make decisions with conviction. All three of these mental states stem from a lack of clarity and confidence. To overcome these struggles, it is crucial to cultivate a strong sense of self-belief and clarity. When we have a clear vision of where we are headed, the noise of doubt and fear diminishes. Confidence is built through consistent actions, where we set small, achievable goals and gradually stretch our limits. Each success reinforces our belief that we are capable, and this in turn diminishes the power of doubt and fear. However, it's not enough to simply wish for clarity or confidence. We must take deliberate, actionable steps to break free from double-mindedness. First, we must commit to a single, focused purpose. This means making decisions that align with our core values and long-term objectives. When we make choices based on what truly matters to us, we eliminate the confusion and indecision that arise from trying to please everyone or appease external pressures. Next, embrace the idea that setbacks are not failures. Each challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. It is through overcoming obstacles that we build resilience and reinforce our confidence. Embrace uncertainty with the understanding that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Finally, remember that clarity and self-assurance are not born overnight. They are cultivated through consistent effort, reflection, and a commitment to our growth. Surround yourself with individuals who encourage and support your vision. Their belief in you can be the catalyst for your own transformation. As you move forward, I encourage you to make decisions boldly and trust in the process. Do not let doubt, fear, or double-mindedness dictate your path. Stand firm in your belief, for when you do, you will not only overcome these internal barriers, but you will also unlock the power to achieve greatness. Doubt, fear, and double-mindedness are three of the most common internal struggles that individuals face when trying to pursue a goal, make a decision, or move forward in life. These are not just emotional responses, they are mental strongholds that, if not addressed, can become deeply rooted patterns of thinking. They often manifest subtly through hesitation, second-guessing, procrastination, or even over-analysis, making it difficult to recognize how much control they have over our lives. The first step to overcoming them is to truly understand what they are and how they operate. Doubt is the quiet voice that questions whether you are good enough, capable enough, or worthy of the vision you carry. It is often born from past failures, negative experiences, or the absence of affirmation. Doubt creeps in when there's uncertainty, and it feeds off comparison. When you begin to measure your value or your ability against someone else's journey or success, you open the door for doubt to flourish. It makes you question your uniqueness and leads you to underestimate the gifts and capacities within you. Over time, it can become a habitual way of thinking that causes you to retreat from opportunities rather than embrace them. Fear, unlike doubt, often takes on a more aggressive form. It creates vivid images of what could go wrong. It reminds you of every possible failure, amplifies risk, and paints worst-case scenarios in your mind. Fear speaks in absolutes. It tells you that if you try, you will fail. If you step out, you will fall. If you believe in yourself, you will be disappointed. Fear is paralyzing not because it's always based on facts, but because it feels real. It activates our emotions and triggers a survival instinct that urges us to stay safe, to stay hidden, and to stay silent. But staying safe often comes at the cost of progress. Many people delay decisions, sabotage relationships, or pass up opportunities simply because fear has convinced them they are not ready. Then there is double-mindedness, which is perhaps the most deceptive of the three. It is the state of being torn between two or more options, unable to commit to one path fully. It feels like inner conflict, wanting something deeply but simultaneously doubting your right or ability to have it. This instability keeps you stuck in the middle ground, where there is no movement, only endless cycles of indecision. You may take a step forward in one moment, and then retreat in the next. This back and forth pattern wastes time, drains energy, and creates confusion. Over time, double-mindedness can cause you to lose confidence in your judgment, weakening your ability to lead yourself effectively. These three forces, doubt, fear, and double-mindedness, often work together, reinforcing each other. Doubt makes you unsure. Fear keeps you stuck. Double-mindedness keeps you spinning. The more you give in to them, the more they shape your worldview and behavior. You start to expect less from life. You lower your standards. You settle for less than you deserve. Not because you are incapable, but because you've lost clarity about who you are and what you carry. Understanding these emotional and mental barriers is the first step in dismantling them. You cannot overcome what you are unwilling to acknowledge. By becoming aware of how they operate in your thoughts and decisions, you reclaim the power to choose differently. And it is through this awareness that healing begins. Once you recognize that these patterns are not truths but perceptions, you can begin the work of shifting your mindset. With that, the process of breaking free begins, not with external change, but with internal clarity and the courage to believe that freedom is possible. Confidence and clarity are two of the most powerful tools a person can possess when navigating life's challenges. They are not traits you are simply born with. Rather, they are qualities that are developed through intentional reflection, consistent action, and a commitment to growth. When we talk about overcoming internal struggles like fear, doubt, and double-mindedness, the real transformation begins when an individual cultivates both clarity of purpose and confidence in themselves. Together, these qualities form the foundation for resilience, decision-making, and personal strength. Clarity is the ability to see with purpose. It means knowing who you are, what you value, and what direction your life is meant to take. Without clarity, life becomes a constant reaction to circumstances. You find yourself busy but not productive, active but not fulfilled. Clarity brings alignment. It connects your goals to your values, and your decisions to your deeper sense of calling. When you are clear about what you want and why you want it, distractions lose their power. You no longer feel the pressure to say yes to everything, or to please everyone, because you understand the path you're walking. This kind of clarity protects your energy and helps you remain grounded, even in the face of uncertainty. Confidence, on the other hand, is the trust you place in yourself and your ability to rise to the occasion. It is not arrogance, and it is not the absence of fear. In fact, real confidence often coexists with fear. It is the decision to act in spite of fear. Confidence grows when you take steps forward, even when the outcome is unclear. Every time you follow through on a commitment, every time you speak up, every time you try something new, you are reinforcing your belief in yourself. Confidence is built through evidence. When you reflect on past victories, even small ones, you begin to see a track record of strength, resourcefulness, and growth. This history reminds you that you are capable of handling more than you think. When clarity and confidence work together, a person becomes unstoppable. Clarity shows you where to go. Confidence gives you the courage to get there. One without the other leaves you vulnerable. Clarity without confidence may leave you stuck in planning mode, afraid to take action. Confidence without clarity may lead you to pursue goals that don't align with your purpose, resulting in burnout or dissatisfaction. But when both are present, your steps become intentional and your actions meaningful. Developing these traits takes discipline. It starts with taking time to reflect, asking yourself the hard questions about what truly matters to you. From that place of honesty, you begin to remove the clutter that clouds your thinking, negative voices, past disappointments, limiting beliefs. You begin to replace them with truth, with affirmations rooted not in wishful thinking, but in your identity and potential. You start practicing habits that support growth, setting clear goals, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and staying consistent, even when results aren't immediate. Confidence and clarity also require you to make peace with imperfection. You must release the idea that everything needs to be figured out before you move. Sometimes, clarity deepens after you take the first step. Sometimes, confidence comes only after you've done the thing you were afraid to do. That's why growth often begins in the doing, not just the thinking. By showing up, by engaging with the process, you become the kind of person who doesn't wait for ideal circumstances, but creates opportunity through presence and persistence. In the end, clarity and confidence are not destinations, they are disciplines. They are developed daily through intention, courage, and faith. And the more you invest in these qualities, the more prepared you become to face life's uncertainties with boldness and peace. Breaking free from self-doubt requires more than inspiration. It takes intentional, practical steps that rewire how we think, how we respond, and how we see ourselves. Doubt is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it appears in quiet ways, like second-guessing every decision, delaying action, or talking ourselves out of opportunities. Overcoming it doesn't happen all at once, but it is absolutely possible with consistent effort and the right strategies. The first practical step is to recognize your thought patterns. You must become aware of when and how self-doubt shows up in your life. Pay attention to the moments when you hesitate, when you talk yourself out of speaking up, or when you shrink back from something you know you want. Doubt often sounds like, "I'm not ready. What if I fail?" Or "I don't think I'm good enough." These thoughts may seem small or harmless, but over time they become beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior. So begin by identifying the lies you've believed about yourself, and then challenge them with truth. Journaling can be a powerful tool in this process. Write down the doubts that regularly come to mind, and ask yourself where they originated. Were they planted by someone else's opinion, a past failure, a traumatic experience? Then for each doubt, write a truth that counters it. For example, if you often think, "I never finish anything," counter it with, "I have the ability to follow through, and I'm getting stronger every day." You are not trying to ignore the reality of your struggles. You are choosing to rewrite the narrative with purpose. Another essential step is setting small, achievable goals. One of the most effective ways to build confidence and reduce self-doubt is through momentum. Choose goals that stretch you just a little bit beyond your comfort zone. When you achieve these small wins, you send a message to your brain, "I can do this." That message builds self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of self-confidence. Over time, those small wins compound, and what once felt impossible begins to feel manageable. Also, be intentional about the voices you allow around you. Self-doubt is amplified in negative environments. If you are constantly surrounded by people who criticize, discourage, or belittle your dreams, their voices can reinforce the fears already living inside you. Seek out relationships that uplift, challenge, and support you. Sometimes, one encouraging word from the right person can silence the noise of fear. Likewise, consume content, books, podcasts, messages that strengthens your identity and vision. Practicing gratitude and self-compassion is another overlooked but powerful step. Many people stuck in self-doubt are also extremely hard on themselves. They replay mistakes and downplay their progress. But to overcome doubt, you must learn to be kind to yourself. Acknowledge your efforts, celebrate your growth, and speak to yourself with the same encouragement you would give a friend. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's lacking to what's working, and that shift empowers you to keep going, even when the road feels long. Lastly, take action. Imperfect, uncomfortable, courageous action. Nothing quiets doubt like doing the very thing you were afraid to do. Confidence is not built in theory, it is built in motion. Even if your voice shakes, even if you're unsure, move forward. Apply for the opportunity. Have the conversation. Share your idea. Every time you act in the face of doubt, you prove to yourself that fear does not have the final say. You do not have to be fearless to be free. You simply need to be willing to take one step at a time. The journey out of self-doubt is not about perfection. It's about persistence. And with every step you take, you become more aligned with the strength, clarity, and confidence that has always been within you.